We continue on the 25 basic principles of Jewish child rearing. We are now up to principle number 7. Now, children at varying ages are just developing a broader context and a broader way of looking at things. But when they're still young, they tend to see things in very cut black and white fashion. They haven't yet developed the capacity of seeing things broadly. This is an ability which develops in time, and they sometimes can draw conclusions and formulate opinions based on something very, very specific. A typical example of this, if a child observes in the home that inadvertently someone knocks over a bowl of flowers, a vase of flowers, and everyone shouts, "Oy vey! Oh, what a terrible tragedy! What a catastrophe!" And someone is castigated for clumsiness. So the child sees, "Oh, that must be a very, very important thing. Wow, this child knocked over a bowl of flowers and water fell all over the table. Wow, that's something terrible." And if people holler at that child, so the child begins to get an impression, okay, that's very important, and that gets stored away in his mind as that's big stuff. And yet, we know that's something very minor. This was a little incident, this is a little triviality that happened that isn't something of such big dimensions. On the other hand, if a child, we mentioned the concept of brachot. If a child, if people mumble Birkat Hamazon, grace after meals, and they mumble it while looking around, while fiddling around, and no one relates to that, a child again stores away, well, this on the priority list is much, much lower. It seems to be much more important to be careful of knocking into a bowl of water over the table than to mumble Birkat Hamazon. So, again, we need to sort out our priorities for the children. Now, as Jews who are observant of Torah, as people who are trying to be close to Hashem, so it's absolutely imperative that the child's Yirat Shamayim, the child's fear of God, the respect and the honoring of mitzvahs, these are very, very central issues. So these things are communicated by the parents. So when at the Shabbos table, which is a great arena for educating, the Shabbos table, when the whole family is around there's no distractions, there's no outside distractions, and the family can integrate. And if at that Shabbos table someone's sharing a juicy bit of gossip, and they're talking Lashon Hara at this table, then this is completely messing up the priorities. If, on the other hand, the Shabbos table is filled with joy, it's filled with a simcha of mitzvah, with the joy of performing a mitzvah, there's singing coming from the heart, there's an exchange of positive ideas and thoughts and discussions and interactions, the child begins to see what's important, what's not important. So the issue of prioritizing, of priorities, it's important for a child to get the sense of priorities right. So if something spills over a parent's clothes and the parent lashes out and makes a huge big fuss about that, the child again is acquiring a certain lack of priority. What's important and what's not important. Giving a child a sense of priorities is an extremely important thing. It's very important that a child needs to know that our relationship with Hashem is absolutely supreme, is the number one thing. That's the most important thing we're doing. And that parnasah, the issues of living, of enjoyment, of pleasures, these are all completely secondary things. These are things which should be just servicing this. So it's important the child gets the sense of priorities right. But if he sees that we take a very lackadaisic approach to mitzvot, and yet we're very, very focused when it comes to physical, material things, so the child begins to get the sense of priority. So if parents will spend many, many agonizing hours about deciding the color of panels in furnishing and taking great pain, and yet when it comes to issues of spirituality are much less concerned or much more lax, the child is adopting a real sense of priorities. And things are not going to change. It's going to be very difficult to change those priorities. So therefore, by our actions, we constantly have to give clear, practical messages. What are the true order of life's priorities?